friends, Krista here, and you're watching Books and Jams. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel today. I'm going to be telling you about the books that I bought during the month of May. Let's just jump right into it. I think this is the smallest book haul that I've had in a really long time, and I'm pretty proud of that fact. At the beginning of the year, I made a goal for myself that I was going to give myself $1 for every book that I read that's on my shelves, because I have tons of unread books on my shelves, and I wanted to focus this year on reading the books that are on my shelves. I've done pretty well with that, but I must admit that I have completely lost track of the amount that I've been spending and the amount that I have been earning by reading books. So I'm starting fresh in June. Library sales are now over. I'm giving myself a zero balance, and starting in June, books from my shelves get $1, and that's the only amount that I have to spend on books. So we're starting fresh. I did pretty good. I made it almost 5 months before I totally lost track. So not so bad. But let's just jump right into the books that I did get during the month of May. There are just 11 books here, and if you've been around my channel for any length of time, you'll know that that's a really small book haul for me. So not so bad this month. The first book I've shown you already in my books that I'm really anticipated about. I did write to the publishers and ask for a copy of this. So Touchstone, which is an imprint of Simon & Schuster, sent me this in the mail, which I'm so thankful for. And that is a map, The Map of Salt and Stars by Jennifer Zeynab Joukhadar. And she is a Syrian American, and this book is written about a Syrian American family. This family loses the father and husband, and the mother and daughter decide to move back to Syria. Once they're there, things are pretty difficult for them, including the fact that they have to flee their home because of all the turmoil and conflict that's going on in that part of the world. We follow Noor, her journey across the Middle East and Northern Africa. There's also a dual story paralleling this one. Noor remembers a story that her father or grandfather told her about this other girl 800 years previously, who took the same path, ultimately, who had to travel, leave her home. She actually was apprenticing to a cartographer, a map maker, and so they were making maps. And so these two girls take the same path. One is a refugee and one is a map maker. I just feel like that sounds super interesting. It's a part of the world that I have not read very much about. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. You will probably see it on my June TBR. Another book that was sent to me this month is First Impressions, and this is from Bethany House. This is a Christian retelling of Pride and Prejudice by Debra White-Smith. You guys know that I absolutely love anything related to Jane Austen, and Pride and Prejudice retellings are the most popular, so I'm excited to read her take on this one. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I was also sent as part of the Fiction Guild, which is from Thomas Nelson. This is called The Weaver's Daughter by Sarah E. Ladd, and based on the cover, it looks pretty wintry, so I have a feeling I'm gonna hold off on reading this one until closer to the winter time. In this one, we have some adventure and some secrets and star-crossed lovers, all happening in Regency era England, and it just sounds like something that is absolutely right up my alley. The rest of the books have all been purchased from different library book sales that I went to this month. I think there were 2 more that I went to in the month of May, and I really restrained myself. I have come home sometimes with big bags full of books, and so the fact that I only have a few is really something to be proud of. The first is After You by Jojo Moyes. I never did read the sequel to Me Before You. I know, those of you who read it, most of you don't like it. So I don't have very high expectations, but it is in the edition of Jojo Moyes books that I'm collecting, and it was only 50 cents, so how could I pass that up? This is a book that I have already read, and it's Austenland by Shannon Hale. This is another Jane Austen inspired book where Austenland is sort of a live action role-playing type of vacation home that you can go to and sort of become characters from her novels and interact with other guests who are characters from the novels as well. And of course a little bit of romance happens. It's sweet, it's silly. The movie was super cute as well. I'm a sucker for it all. I picked up this because the cover was just so funny to me. This is called Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons, and I feel like I've heard someone talk about this, but I cannot remember who it was. But the cover just cracks me up. All of the characters and a little bit about them and the little caricature of them. I don't know what this is about at all, to be honest. The whole book is not like this. It's a normal novel inside. It's actually quite short. I believe a classic or a modern classic. So I just couldn't resist the cover, and sorry that I don't know more about that one. I'm also collecting Louise Penny's books, so I grabbed another one in her series, her Armand Gamache series. This is called The Long Way Home. I have no idea what number this is, but I know it's one that I don't yet have. So I have only really read the first one in the series so far, but I really enjoyed it. So whenever I see them at library sales for 50 cents or $1 or $2, I'm grabbing them right away. And I do plan on reading the second one, A Fatal Grace, pretty soon. I picked up another classic by Elisabeth Gaskell. This is called Cranford. I loved North and South by Elisabeth Gaskell. She's a very easily accessible classic author, I believe. Sometimes I read classics and I just have such a hard time getting into them. Charles Dickens. But Elisabeth Gaskell is one that is very accessible for me. So I'm looking forward to reading another one by her. I picked up another Karin Slaughter book. And my last hauls, I've had some more of hers. This one is The Good Daughter. And I believe this is a pretty recent, recently published book. Let's see. Yeah, 2017. So this is one of her newer books. I know that it is a psychological thriller, so I don't want to know anything about it, but I know it got a lot of rave reviews from my thrillery reader friends on BookTube. Another book that I have read already is The Miraculous Journey of Edward Toulane. I read this, oh, this is by Kate diCamillo. I read this in 2017 as part of my BookTuber Recommends project that I did last year, and I had borrowed it from the library, but I absolutely loved it, so I was so excited when I found a copy of it for just 50 cents. How could I pass that up? It's about a little toy China doll bunny who gets separated from his owner, the little girl who owns him, and he is a very vain and proud bunny, but has a journey of learning how to love and be loved throughout this story, and it's wonderful, and I loved it. If you are ever looking for a fun, quick middle grade to read, I would recommend this one. And finally, who did I hear talk about this? I just heard someone talk about this one. This is a very recent book as well. It's called The Women in the Castle by Jessica Shattuck. And I believe this is a post-World War II novel about a group of women whose husbands were fighting in the war and they are now widows, possibly? I'm not sure. But it is about six women who all go live together in this Bavarian castle. I don't know, to be protected or what, but I have recently heard someone talk about it, and so I snatched it up as soon as I could because it was only $2. And it's in really fantastic condition, and it's post-World War II, which is not quite World War II, but it still has after effects of World War II in it. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one as well. So here are the books that I'm hauling for the month of May. Not so shabby, only 11. That's pretty good if you ask me. I'm excited about a lot of them, and I've read a couple of them already. I would love to chat with you down in the comments. I gotta set that down. I would love to chat with you down in the comments about any of these books or a book that you recently hauled that you are very excited about. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Of course, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will be chatting with you in another video very soon. Bye!